afternoon, everybody. Time for another episode of Sunday Talks. I think the title of today's video is going to be Love Isn't Free. Because it's not. I think that's such a foolish notion. Some of you might be old enough to remember the whole free love movement of the 1960s, and that's total garbage. That's lies, it's bogus, it's just pure nonsense. Because that's not love, that is debauchery. A wise man knows that love comes at a cost, and he is willing to pay that price. And I guess the reason I say all these things is it's really become very real to me. You've seen him, you know him, you love him. Our basset hound Droopy passed away suddenly this week. He got an affliction of the stomach. Took him out in 4 hours. And not really much we could do. And he was a rescue dog. We had him for not even quite 4 years, but we got to love him dearly in that time. And with him gone now, obviously there's a great deal of pain, because I'm sure many of you have had to bury a dog before, and it's like losing a member of the family. It just hurts. But that was a price that I was willing to pay. I knew that loving a dog and getting a dog that was already 8 years old when I adopted him was going to come with that risk. That love came at a cost. And that is something that I'm okay with. Because I think loving someone or loving something, it shouldn't be seen as such a trivial thing. It's not. It's taken way too lightly, and I think that word is thrown around way too much, along with things like words like friend and hero, words that are just kind of abused. Because if you truly love someone, person, pet, etc., when you actually do love something, it means you are willing to sacrifice for them, because love is sacrifice. Love is action. It is not a feeling. It is not sex. It is not likes on Instagram. None of those things are love. Love is sacrifice. But it is a noble sacrifice. It is a worthy sacrifice, and it is something that you should do throughout the course of your life. Whether it be your friends or your family or your pets, you should be willing to sacrifice for them. That's what love is. It is not, what marketing tries to sell you. A lot of advertisers, alcohol especially, shows, picking up women and stuff like that. None of that is love. And this will probably be a bit of a short video today. It's been a really rough week on all of us. But I can't stress that enough, that love is not free. It is a sacrifice. And if you are a father or a mother, you know this to be especially true, because you love your kids, and loving your kids consumes a lot of your time, a lot of your energy, a lot of your sleep, a lot of your money, a lot of your resource, a lot of your everything. Children just consume, but that's okay. And it's our job to make those consumables available to them. And it's just a natural part of life. And I think, I know I'm going to start waxing like an old man here, but I think in our current state of affairs in our modern society, we've kind of lost sight of a lot of those things. We're losing sight of what family is. We're losing sight of what love is. And instead of being focused on the virtue of self-sacrifice, we are more focused on the pleasure of self-indulgence. And then we try to convince ourselves that self-indulgence is a form of love, self-love, and that it's good for us, that we need it, and that we deserve it. And I've got a lot of mixed feelings on the whole self-love thing, because I think the way it's being sold is that it's just a way to justify narcissism and to excuse loneliness. Because if you are lonely, go make friends. Bible verse that says that a man who wants friends must first show himself friendly. And that goes back to prior episodes where I talked about changing your attitude is like one of the biggest steps to getting a better life. Well, if you want friends, you must show yourself friendly. And at the time that was written, there was no social media, so making friends was fairly normal in that you were always outside doing something because that's just how you survive. But we've kind of gotten a tendency to lock ourselves up in the house too much, I think. And it's really been negatively impacting our mental health as a society by closing ourselves off from the world. I'm kind of going through this right now with my best friend. He's unmarried, lives alone, and has a very busy full-time job that he can do it. He works from home, and it's awesome. Like, he's making a killing. He can buy anything he wants, but he's just not happy. And he's lost sight of human connection. And I mean, even though we've been buddies for, 20 years, I still have a hard time getting a hold of him on the phone. And I want to warn you, don't allow yourself to fall into that situation. And of course, I love this man to death. He's like my own brother, and I'm going to do everything I can to drag him out of it. And again, sacrifice, right? I love him. I'm going to sacrifice my time and energy to help him. Kind of tying everything together here. But it's very easy to fall into that trap, especially if you're working from home, which I don't necessarily have a problem with. But you keep doing these things to where you never have to leave your house. If you're always ordering food in and you're working from home and shutting yourself away, and of course what I've been doing way too much of, because I've been wasting hours on social media this week trying to numb my senses because the pain hurts too much. And that's not necessarily a good thing, but admittedly that's what I've been doing to cope, and I really need to stop, and I need to get out in the garage and start doing stuff. And of course it's raining cats and dogs today, but you know what I'm saying, like I need to get my head out of my sphincter and spend some time outside when the weather permits, and just start getting on with my life, because I'm trying to avoid the pain of loss is what I'm doing, and that's not healthy either. So I'm trying to numb my own senses through social media, so I can not think about the pain and not think at all. But that's not really a good way to cope. But after 2 straight days of doing that, I realized that I'm ready to start living again, and I need to maintain some semblance of human interaction. I need to keep, talk to my friends about it. I need to share life experiences with people who love me. And that's the thing, if somebody loves you, they will sacrifice for you. But again, love comes at a cost. Love is not free. You need to be willing to sacrifice for them. You can't always expect people to carry your emotional baggage and your frustration and your sadness if you aren't willing to extend that same courtesy to them. So if you've got a friend who calls you and they're having a really bad day and they just need to rant for a half an hour, you let them. Give them that time. Sacrifice a little bit of your day on behalf of that friend, because again, that's really showing that you love them, as you are making a sacrifice on their behalf. And yes, that comes at a cost of your time that you will never get back. But let's be real here. I'm kind of preaching at myself when I say this. You would have wasted it anyway. Like what I've done with the past 2 days is I've just been doom scrolling on social media like some lemming because I'm trying to avoid my own feelings. And I don't want to think. I just want to not exist for a while. But, a friend of mine actually did call me because he was really frustrated about some stuff. And I listened. I said, okay, tell me about what's frustrating you. Tell me about your family issues, etc., etc. And I actually felt better for having done that because I was making a more valuable use of my time. And then you do things like that and you start to realize that a noble sacrifice is actually a great gain in your life. And that might sound counterintuitive. To sacrifice is to gain. But there's truth to what I'm saying. When you sacrifice yourself for a greater good, not the greater good, that's too nebulous, but a greater good, like being there for your friend when they are in a time of need and they're having a bad day and they need someone to talk to. You sacrifice your time and to the best of your ability, give them advice if you have to offer it. And if not, just be a listening ear and, show a little sympathy, show a little love, help them get through whatever time they're going through. And you might notice you feel a whole lot better about yourself. And then you start to think maybe it wasn't even a sacrifice at all. And that is hopefully something that I can impart upon you on this Sunday, is that love is a sacrifice, but a noble sacrifice is a great gain. I think there's probably a Bible verse around there somewhere. I think it's like godliness with contentment is great gain. But and to be content is a noble thing. But I believe that noble sacrifice is a form of gain, because what you are gaining is the love and trust and affection of a friend, and you get to be responsible for the betterment of somebody's life. And I think that in and of itself is a pretty golden reward. So I'd encourage you to think on these things, and just remember that it's not always about you. And sometimes making it all about you can actually cost you a lot. So until we meet again, stay gold.